So as you guys recall in the last video, I mentioned that I would be talking about Seunghan once again and talking about how I don't really think that it's a good idea for him to be a solo artist and why I'm against it. I was for it initially, and I know I said that we should support him in being a solo artist, but I feel like this is not the right call for SM, and there are reasons to why I feel this way. Seunghan, even though being put as a solo artist, is still being done wrong. Him coming back to any aspect of the K-pop industry should be him coming back the way that the company had originally brought him into the industry in the first place, with his group. It doesn't make sense for the company to make him a solo artist. A lot of people are very supportive of him. I am also supportive of him. However, I don't really think he wants to come back as a solo artist. That's me personally, okay? I haven't talked to Seunghan or anything, but I personally don't think he wants to come back as a solo artist. I think he wants to come back as a group member. Being a solo artist should be like a side hustle that showcases who you are as an individual apart from your group, but it does not take away, or it should not take away, from your contribution and your personality as a member of the group that you are in. In fact, it doesn't make any sense logically to say he's not marketable for the group Rise, so we are going to get rid of him from Rise, but we're going to place him as a solo artist. And it kind of annoys me even that this happened to Wonho of Monsta X as well. Of course, there are differences in that whole thing, and I never really talked about Wonho's situation, but maybe I will in another video. But I don't want this intro to be too long. I just want to cut to the chase and say that I didn't feel trusting of SM's plan when they removed Seunghan from Rise, because of the loud, obnoxious voices of the unhinged OT6ers. I still hold to that belief that I don't trust what SM is doing, but I definitely don't trust them now with Seunghan's future. So we're going to be talking about a TikToker by the name of Jaehyun Cho. He's a Korean American, and he's been making TikTok videos shedding some light on the situation with boycotting Rise and Seunghan's predicament, particularly with him being debuted as a solo artist. We're going to talk about what he thinks about that and a lot of the insights that he has. He's actually a former freelancer for SM Entertainment, and of course he's since moved back to the States, if I'm not mistaken. But we're going to get into what he's talking about here. So with that said, let's just get into it, all right? Let's go. I found this person on TikTok whose video addressing Rise OT7 fans went viral for encouraging fans to continue the boycott. He talked about how at the Mama Awards LA night, I guess the first LA night, it was reported that anyone who was wearing orange or had anything with them that was associated with OT7, they had their stuff taken away. He addressed the irony of Rise winning the Global Group Award, but that it was the Asian fan base of OT6ers who voted for it. He brought up something that I think a lot of us had been saying for a while now, that from a business and marketing standpoint, it makes no sense to remove Seunghan from the group. He mentioned that SM stated that they would protect their artists, but that there's also been nothing in the news about SM winning any lawsuits against the people who SM claims to be protecting their artists from. Definitely, I'd agree with that. I haven't seen anything about them winning any lawsuits or even filing any lawsuits against these people. And I don't think they have. I honestly don't think they have. He goes on to say that when it comes to SM's yearly, quarterly reports, quote, this is him saying this, quote, "I'll believe it when I see it. Because mind you, Super M was supposed to make a comeback. That ish didn't happen," end quote. I agree. He brought up that NCT was also supposed to do a world tour, but they only toured Korea and Japan. He brought these things up to say that he is very cautious about Seunghan's debut. This is me quoting him again. Quote, "For people saying you should be happy that Seunghan is getting a solo debut, baby, that's not the point," end quote. I like how he said that as quickly as SM Entertainment announced that Seunghan would be debuting as a solo artist in the second half of 2025, they could have just put him back in Rise. I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer thing, right? I agree with that. He also said, quote, "I'd rather have Seunghan be in a group where he's supported by his members than him being by himself," end quote. and I totally agree with that. He made a very factual point that Seunghan is going to get hate no matter what he does, no matter if he's in Rise or if he's a solo artist, doesn't matter. And in that situation, at least he would be supported if he was with his members, because that strong support system would help him get through any amount of hate thrown his way. This guy Jaehyun has also said that he's worked with 2 K-pop groups as a freelancer, so he knows a thing or two about what goes on in the K-pop world, and I believe him. I tend to believe him. If I didn't believe him, I wouldn't be quoting him or bringing him up at all. So I think this man is very credible, and we should listen to what he's saying here, because he's actually saying a lot of things that make a lot of sense. Jaehyun has also claimed to have even received harmful messages like unalive threats, people telling him to harm himself, and things of that nature. From guess who? OT6ers. We all know this though. This is their nature, as they have already displayed with the funeral wreaths and them literally ripping OT7 fans' kind messages to Seunghan. I mean, ripping them to pieces and cursing at OT7 fans who confronted them about their unhinged, overly obsessive, and entitled behavior. I agree with Jaehyun that their actions are going to make it very difficult for Rise fandom and other fandoms to be taken seriously, because these loud and quite frankly unwell OT6ers are the people that draw the most attention, and everyone is looking at them and seeing them as the face of Rise because of how loud they are. And when people see this kind of behavior, it gives those on the outside yet another reason to believe that K-pop fandoms are the most toxic, unhinged fandoms out there. That's just my 2 cents. All right, now let me get back to Jaehyun. Jaehyun also brought up something I've mentioned before about Koreans and even some fellow foreigners telling Westerners what they can and cannot talk about, like giving us a limit to how much we can talk about. And I just want to say this. Okay, this is my message to all of these people that say that we're not supposed to do this. Koreans adopted our styles of music here in the West and are inspired by our styles and trends, but we dare not speak about Korean people because we're not Korean. Get out of here with that sad argument, because let a K-pop group come here to the US promoting K-pop with full English lyrics and westernized styles of music that is very commercialized, right? And you speak out and say you don't like it. I'm not gonna tell you that you can't say that you can't speak out. If Koreans love the West so much that they adopt many of our Western cultures and integrate them into their own society and into their own culture, if they can come to the West and rub shoulders and collaborate with Western artists, very famous Western artists, and perform and sell out auditoriums and arenas because we Americans are paying for it, don't you dare tell us we can't speak on this stuff. And I would like to echo what Jaehyun said in his TikTok video. SM, how can you call Rise a global group if you refuse to listen to the global fans? Jaehyun also said that the reason he calls the solo debut quote unquote alleged is because Seunghan is listed nowhere in SM's quarterly releases for this year. He said that when the situation between Hybe and Kakao happened and SM wanted to be with Kakao, he didn't believe any of that mess, because during that time he stated that that was when he started his freelancing with SM. He also said that OT6 is hurting their favorite members. And Wonbin said in a Weverse post, which I will plaster right here on the screen for you, that all the members wanted Seunghan back. I don't know if you guys remember this, but he did post this before. Wonbin said this. All the members wanted him back. And this is something we've talked about as well, right? You're actually going against what the members want. The OT6ers think that this is a supportive thing to be an OT6er, but Rise does not want that. That's why Rise, in my humble opinion, from what I've looked at, and I'm in no means a behavioral analysis guy, okay? I'm not. But looking at how their faces look when people are chanting O6 or OT6, they're faking the smiling. They are not happy with these OT6ers. They're really not, because they're chanting against what they wanted. These OT6ers are chanting something that Rise, which was established as 7, don't vibe with and don't believe in. They are not complete without their 7th member. They want Seunghan back. And so do we. So do we. So let me go on here. Now, I don't know what it is about SM, but it seems to me that SM thinks that Seunghan going solo is somehow better for Rise and for Seunghan himself. But it doesn't make any sense to me from a marketing standpoint. Definitely not. And Jay sums that up perfectly here as well. He said, quote, "From a marketing standpoint, Seunghan going solo doesn't make any sense because that cash flow, no shade, with so many people already hating Seunghan in Rise and SM not even protecting Seunghan or Rise, what makes you think the outcome is going to be any different?" End quote. And I also agree with him that the purchasing of digital albums as well as merchandise sales would go way up if Seunghan was back in Rise. It's a terrible business move to not bring him back. Mind you, again, this is supposed to be a quote unquote global group, global K-pop group. SM. How can you call Rise a global K-pop group if you refuse to listen to the global fans? I've said this before, I'm saying it again. Now, what I did not know was that Rise was also signed to an American label. I didn't know that. So Jay kind of gave me something new information I had no idea about. I'm sure a lot of you already knew this, but I did not. So I decided to look into this more for clarification as to what this was. So RCA Records is a record label that is based in New York City, New York, and it has artists signed to it such as Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Chris Brown, and even ATEEZ. RCA has been around since 1901. Pretty well-known label. I just didn't think about that. And Rise is signed to them too, as well as SM. So I thought that was very interesting. So the global aspect is there with RCA. But if you think about it, that actually makes this whole situation even worse, because how are you signed to an American label and not willing to listen to the Western fans who won't purchase anything of Rise unless Seunghan is included, and the group, even the group who want Rise as 7 members again? How are you going to ignore what the group wants and what the fandom wants because of these unhinged OT6ers and their funeral wreaths? Rewarding bad behavior, ripping up OT7 positive words of encouragement to Seunghan, ripping them up on camera. It's out there in the public. Everybody, including SM, has seen this. And you rewarded that behavior. Them writing these really insensitive, stupid messages on the funeral wreaths toward Seunghan, and OT7 fans calling these people out to their faces and getting cursed at and fussed at by the OT6ers because they feel like they're entitled to be evil. And y'all rewarded this behavior. Y'all rewarded this behavior. It's on you guys. You determined that the OT6 fans, and I don't even know why they call it OT6. In fact, you're not fans of Rise. You're not. You're hateful, spiteful, entitled, self-righteous, because it is very self-righteous to want Seunghan out of the group for being a human and doing what you guys do, but saying that he should get penalized. What if you had a job and your boss said, I know that all the other employees smoke, but I'm going to single you out, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Barista? I'm going to single you out because you've been smoking, you've been drinking, so I'm going to fire you. Yeah, but they all smoke too. I don't care. I'm going to fire you because you look like a K-pop idol. You look like a beautiful K-pop idol. You look like the perfect shining symbol of perfection. But because you partake in everything that the other people do that don't look like you, I'm going to single you out and fire you. Because a lot of people have been saying that you should be fired. Even the employees have been saying you should be fired because you're too freaking beautiful to be smoking and drinking. And they have some kind of entitlement to your life as to what you should and shouldn't do. And so because of that, I need to honor that. I need to honor that and fire you. That's kind of what SM did. They're like, you know what? I know that other K-pop idols have smoked and drank and all that stuff. And mind you, this is pre-debut. He hasn't even debuted yet. And he did all the smoking and drinking and all that. I'm going to say this again, and I've said it in other Seunghan videos in the past. Other members got into controversies about stuff they didn't do. I'm gonna say that again, stuff they didn't do. Wait, one more time for the people in the back. Something that they did not do at all. Anton got in trouble for being with his friends, for having some kind of jewelry. It was either a necklace or a bracelet or something, as a girl did. Come to find out, all of his swim team friends had the same friendship charm things that he had and the girl had. And the fans were trying to tell him, OT6ers, you shouldn't be with nobody but us. Who told you that you could be with some? And they tried to mess him up. They tried to mess up Sohee. All of these members were in some kind of controversy because of fans taking things out of context, not knowing the full story, and being nosy. This is what nosiness does to you. It turns you into a parasocial, entitled brat. That's what it does. But anyway, I don't want this video to be too long. I think it's already going to be too long. As I close out, I would like to echo the words that Jaehyun, the TikToker, said in his video. OT6 will be the downfall of Rise's career if they continue to behave like this and if they continue to not be checked. And I appreciate all of the OT7 fandom for checking these people. Now we have to not let up. The purpose of this video is to tell you guys, we cannot stop this boycott. I told you guys before, I'm not really a big boycott guy. I don't like doing this whole boycott thing. However, this is setting a dangerous precedent because we can't allow this to continue. And this is 2025, right? It happened in 2024. We cannot and will not accept Seunghan not being in Rise. Seunghan, I don't really even think he wants to be a solo artist. He wants to be with his group, and so does Rise. They want Seunghan back. I don't care what these OT6ers throw at you. SM, grow some balls. Grow some balls and say no. Is it really that hard? Grow some balls, say no, and let's put an end to this nonsense. Because the real fandom will support Rise as long as you bring Seunghan back. Because like Jaehyun said, if you're willing to make Seunghan a solo artist, then you can bring him back into the group. If his contract's not terminated and you're still willing to debut him as an artist under SM, you can bring him back to the group. And again, to echo what Jaehyun said about the quarterly releases that are supposed to be happening in this year, 2025, apparently Seunghan's not on any of the release dates. So either one of two things is happening. You're either pushing Seunghan's debut back and you don't know exactly when you're going to debut him this year, or if you're going to debut him this year at all, or you're lying and you're not going to debut him at all, and you're just trying to gauge the audience to see how far this goes. I'm telling you, both of these things are a mistake. You're struggling trying to make up your mind when the obvious answer is right in front of your face and you just won't do it. You won't acknowledge it because the OT6ers, you have given these people a platform to dominate your decision making. You have given OT6ers the ability to make decisions for the company. How long are you going to tolerate it? How long are you going to allow this to go on? And I'm speaking directly to SM as a SM K-pop group supporter. not a company supporter, because obviously, clearly, this company does not know what right business decisions to make. It is not a good idea to debut him as a solo artist. Give him back to his members. Let them be his support system. Let them help him. Let them stand up for him against the OT6ers, whom you have endowed with power to be the judge, jury, and executioner of Seunghan and Rise's career. Give him back to his members so that they can be strong as 7. It makes no sense. Your sales are going down with Rise because of your decision to let OT6 decide for you what to do with Rise, a group they did not establish, but you established. Where's your power? Where's your ability to think logically through the decisions that are being made. All of the memorabilia, all of the merchandise, all of the albums, both physical and digital, those sales will skyrocket if you bring Seunghan back. But if you don't, we will continue to boycott. We will continue to not give support to Rise. You're actually causing your own group's downfall, SM, by letting OT6 do what they do. This is not one of those things where a K-pop idol who is a part of a group did something very unforgivable and very wrong, and they were kicked out of the company. And so now we have to accept the fact that this group that was once 7 is now 6 because the 7th member did something bad. And yet this is not that situation because Seunghan didn't do anything wrong. And you know it. You know he didn't do anything wrong, because if he did, you would not be debuting him as a solo artist. This is absolute utter nonsense. Do the right thing, or more and more pressure will be applied. Pressure we never wanted to apply, but we have to because you won't make the decisions. You'll let the unhinged people, they're not fans, SM, they're not fans. I don't know if you realize this, they're not fans. They do not like any decision you've made to bring Seunghan back. And they're not the bulk of your money. International fans and the actual OT7 Korean fans, they are the bulk of your money. Stop giving this toxic, unhinged culture of K-pop fandoms so much power and stop rewarding them for being imps. The choice is yours, SM. The choice is yours. I love Rise. I love the group. They know you screwed them over, SM, but they don't have the freedom to talk about it. So we have to be their voice. The OT7 fans have to be Rise's voice in a situation where they can't speak freely about how you, SM, did them wrong. 2 days after you bring Seunghan back, you cut him loose from Rise and you broke the hearts of all 6 of your members, including Seunghan the 7th. That's evil, and it's called cowardly. It's cowardly to cave into these people like this. But you made your bed, so now you have to lie in it. You can fix it though. Will you? I don't know. But we all hope you do, because we don't have time. We don't have time for any of this. Anyway, I'm sorry. I think I might have went a little over my time. We have to support Rise as 7 by boycotting Rise as 6. Not to harm Rise, but to send a message to SM that Rise, as you establish them, is the Rise that we want. And any Rise that is not 7 members, especially when the 7th didn't do anything wrong, that's not a Rise we want. We want the Rise that you guys made the decision to make 7, not the Rise that is now because of you catering and rewarding OT6ers for being absolute crazy people. I don't care how loud they are. They're wrong. Wrong is wrong. I'm gonna say it again. I don't care what country you're in. I don't care what cultural differences you guys have in whatever country you are in. Wrong in one country is still wrong. And if people can see that this is wrong and they're not from Korea, then we should be able to see the wrong in other parts of Korean society or in other parts of other country societies. This whole stay in your lane thing is not a good argument. There's too much information out there, and our voices carry a lot of weight and power, and we can make a difference, but we choose not to because we choose to stay in our lane. That's the danger of staying in your lane sometimes. You might consider staying in your lane as being respectful, but there are times when it is more honorable and respectful to take a stand against something that is wrong than to just say, let's just mind our business. Let's just mind our business. Because guess what? Funny thing about that is, it is our business. K-pop is our business. Who made it our business? Korea did. How did they do that? They brought their artists to the West to make money off of the West. Guess who else's business it is? Japan's business. Why? Because Korea brought K-pop artists to Japan to make money off of the Japanese fans. It's our business. All of this is our business. I don't want to hear no more of this in 2025. It's not our business. We need to stay in our lane. You stay where you are in your country. They stay where they are in their country. We're past that point. BTS has been in America how many times? Monsta X has been in America how many times? Twice has been in America how many times? Blackpink has been in America how many times? G-Dragon has collaborated with how many Western artists? Tyga JK has collaborated with how many Western artists? Huh? Super M, which was an international K-pop group as well, or should I say global K-pop group if you want to call it that, catering to the West. Are you serious? Stay in our lane. Is that your argument? Stay in our lane. It's too late. That's my point. It's too late. I'm sorry, I'm still going. It's too freaking late, guys. I don't want to hear no more of this nonsense. No more. I love y'all. I really do. But I don't want to hear no more of this nonsense. We've gone past this point. We really have. And I'm not upset. I'm just annoyed with the fact that people are saying stuff like this. Believe it or not, I'm not getting annoyed for nothing. People have been saying, stay in your lane. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about that. Don't talk. You know what? It's okay to talk about K-pop, but don't talk about the Korean society because you're not willing to point out the issues in your society. I can point out the issues in my society. I've done it before, but you don't want to really hear what I believe about my society in the West because you'll be pissed. Some of you will be pissed. So I try to steer away from that, but I can do it if you want. I can go more in depth than I did in the What is Woke video if you want. Anyway, I'm sorry. All right. I told you guys I'm not going to play games this year. I love all of y'all. Moonbase, y'all are my ride or die, and I appreciate all y'all for being here. I do. I appreciate it. This is bigger than just Rise. If SM is allowed to just cater to the whims of OT6ers and allow them to determine what to do with a group that OT6ers didn't even establish, this sets a dangerous precedent for toxic, unhinged, quote unquote, fans in the future. How much power are companies willing to give other fandoms to determine what to do with groups that they did not establish? And how many unhappy K-pop fans, real K-pop fans, will you create as a result of that? And how much are you willing to let your stocks plummet to appease toxic people? Oh, well, they'll build back up. Yeah, with another group, and that's assuming that the people who are angry with you about the last thing you did don't boycott the entirety of your company. You better hope that doesn't happen, because your stocks will not come back up if people decide, I'm just going to boycott all of SM because of what you did with that one group. Your reputation is already bad. Don't make it worse. Please stand up for your artists. Defend your artists, or we will defend them by boycotting you. Anyway, I'm sorry. I went off. I didn't get too upset though, thankfully. All right, I'm done. Officially done. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments. I have a lot to edit and I apologize for going so long. I'm sure you guys probably enjoyed me ranting like this, but if I'm being honest, I don't. I don't. But let me know how you feel about it anyway in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy. And until next time, it is your boy Moonlight of the Moonbase signing out. Peace. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye.